Hi, this is Linda Jones, the Guinea Pig Slave at the Guinea Pig Slave Rescue. We make a lot of products for guinea pigs, for everywhere from cage liners and accessories to sometimes some human things for people that like to carry around their guinea pigs or like to just express their joy and love of the guinea pig. So I thought I would do a little video today on what makes a quality guinea pig product. What is it that makes one product better than another? What is it that you don't see? I can tell you right away that the most important thing about a guinea pig product is what goes inside, what the quality of the material is, and size. Measurements are so important. When you're talking about a cage liner, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're talking about. Cage liners. This is one of mine, and it won't turn around, of course. This is a cage liner. You want your cage liner to be thick. You want it to be absorbent so that when they pee, it goes through to the center layer, and you want it so that the back side, the cage stays dry underneath. You want all the urine to be on the center. Piggy's feet stay dry, and the cage itself stays dry as well. So you want a good quality liner. So how do you know that's what you're getting? How do you know that your liner is going to come out the way you were hoping it to? You want a thick liner. You don't want a thin, paper thin liner. There's different kinds of U-Haul pads. We've talked about this a few times. There is the thin, very, very thin, looking for a piece of it right now, a very thin U-Haul pad. Some people make them with those thin pads, and you will have a very thin liner, and it will not absorb as much for as long, and you will have to change it far more often. And then there's the quilted U-Haul pad. This is in the inside of all of my liners. This is quilted, and inside is actually where the U-Haul is. The real trick with this is not when you first stitch it in. The trick of this is when you wash it. This quilting on the outside makes the inside pop up more and more, and the more you wash it, the more absorbent it becomes. So this liner actually will be better the more you wash it. There's not many things in this world that the more you wash them, the more absorbent they become, but this is one of those cases. This is recycled denim. You have to be careful which quilted U-Hauls that you get. They sell some online that are very cheap and they will not hold up. Another thing is against all sewing rules. Sewing rules always say wash your fabric and everything first, then sew it together. And this is something I mention a lot. Don't do that. Making liners is against your sewing rules. You don't do that. You do not wash the fabric. You do not wash this at all. You wait until it's all stitched together. There's a reason for this. A liner is meant to be a solid unit. It's supposed to be a unit. It's not supposed to have wrinkles and wobbly, loose fabric running around. It's supposed to be a unit. It's supposed to be a pad, a completed pad. And the way we accomplish that when you have two different pieces of fleece and you have a U-Haul pad is when you wash it after it's all stitched together, it binds it. It shrinks a little bit all the way around, and it shrinks to a form, making it a pad rather than two pieces of fleece with an inside. If you wash it all first, for one thing, this inside will start to puff up, but there's nothing to hold it in place. So it just puffs up and makes a mess. And the fleece will shrink, and the coating that is on all fabrics will wash off. It will wick off of there. Wick meaning you wash it in vinegar so the urine can go through to the center. All of that will be washed ahead of time, and then when you stitch together, your fleece will move on you and you'll have ripples, and then when you do wash it, it doesn't hold together like a pad. It's more like two pieces of fleece with the center, and it will move on you. And what you want is a solid unit pad. You're making a pad. You're not just making a blanket. A blanket can move and groove, and that's fine. That's why we don't wash it until they're all one unit, and then it will shrink into what you're hoping for, which is a solid unit pad, and it will get puffier and more absorbent with time. That's why we use what we use. Now, here's a quick warning. You need to have a sharp needle on your sewing machine to do this. A number 14 or 16 is preferred, or you will break a lot of needles. Also, you have to have a heavy-duty machine. Lightweight machines will not handle 2 layers of fleece and a thick quilted pad. It just won't work. They will give you trouble all the way along, and you'll be very frustrated. You can test out your machine to see if it can handle this by taking a small piece and making a square. Just make a pad, a small pad. See how your machine handles it, and if it gives you trouble, it may not be the right machine. Or change your needle to a sharper needle and see if that works. But I would not try to do a big old liner until you've tested your machine. So what's inside matters. That's liners, pads, all of these kind of pads. You want them nice and thick. Now let's talk about other products on the insides. I can't turn this around. This is batting. Now, a lot of people who make products use batting. Batting is very inexpensive. Not this batting. Most people who get the Walmart batting that's in a bag, that's very airy, it's light, and when you wash the products like this, like the cuddle beds, this has been washed many, many times. In fact, there's a stain in it. This has been washed many, 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 many times. It still has its shape. The shape holds up. It still has it all. The reason why mine is holding up after all this washing and use is because I don't use batting. I use foam, and not just any foam. I use quality. It's called Pelon 77. There's so many kinds of foam out there, but this is my preference. Pelon number 77. It is stitchable, it's washable, it shrinks with the fabric. It's amazing, and it holds up forever. Keeps its shape beautifully. So whenever you have anything that needs a wall, like a house, I have a house over here. I'll show you how that works. Here's a house, a cube house, and this is the nice, you want this house to hold and you want to stand. We found by using Pelon 77 all through it, we decided on the sides to reinforce them with 2 Pelon 77 foam pads, one on each side, and it gives it that extra stability we originally were missing, and it holds up. You can put a 5-pound bag of beans and it will hold up and not fall in. And piggies like to pounce on them, and we want them to pop back up. See, they climb on them, shake it out, you got your shape right back, because the sides are reinforced and there's Pelon foam throughout it. So what's inside matters a great deal. If you use cheap foam from the real thick airy stuff, when you wash it, it absorbs the water and it just falls apart. Terrible. A lot of the things you're going to get on Wish or some of the cheap sites overseas are going to have things that just fall apart, and your things that did stand will collapse flat out because they're using batting. They're not using the good foam. Okay, pads. There's a nice pad. See how thick those are? It's been, when they're washed, they puff up even more. And once again, we bind it all together at the very, very end when we wash it. Let the washer do the binding for you. Okay, this is, okay, so that's the foam. Batting. I do use batting on some products. Some products, the batting gives it a puffy texture, a puffy, fluffy kind of texture. I use batting on cage bumpers to keep the hay inside your cage. I use cage bumpers a lot around here. And for silly things like, here's a nice, this is a red bell pepper pad I made. And you know, I got some stuffing in here, but this has got the batting. It has a U-haul pad. It has the U-haul in there so that it's absorbent when the piggy lays on it. But it also has batting just to make it fluffy and puff up and make it fun. Well, what batting you choose matters. I don't buy it in a bag at Walmart. This is mine. It is on a roll. It is actually, let me see what number it is so you know what batting I use. It is, this one is Econo Fleece Pelon number 972. This stuff is quality. You can stitch it into anything. Washable. Really, really good. So once again, that's Pelon 972. That's the batting I use for all my products. So these are just, I just wanted to do a quick thing on what is inside your products matters. The things you never see make all the difference. This is a pad. I want to show you. This is one when I was talking about making it into a pad rather than just a blanket. If you see, this is all stitched and quilted. All of this is one solid. There's no loose, you don't see loose material anywhere here because it was not pre-washed. It was washed after it was designed, making it exactly what you want, which is just a solid pad, a good pad. So those are my hints for today. Always ask if you're going to purchase something, what's inside, what kind of U-haul do you use, what is your absorbent layer, how large is it? These are important questions to ask. How big is your cuddle beds? If you don't ask that, you might get one the size for a hamster. We've all purchased them cheap and ended up with things way too small. You want to know. You want to know, ask them for a picture. Ask the seller for a photo with the animal. And if they show you a picture with the rat, you know it's probably not a guinea pig sized. They should be able to provide a picture with the animal. I just have my own opinion that if you're making products for guinea pigs, you really should have a guinea pig for sizing. Or how do you even know? How can you test out your products with animals if you don't even have that animal? So this is showing you some good quality fleece. You don't want cheap fleece. You do not want the rolled fleece from Walmart. A lot of people buy that to save money, the $2.50 rolled fleece. I've done videos before where I show that fleece. You put it up to the light and the light shines right through it. The idea of having a liner is so that it's washable and you don't have to change the liner every 2-3 days. So you should change it once a week. A good quality, thick liner should only have to be changed once a week. But if you're changing yours 2-3 times a week, then what's inside probably can't handle the amount of urine for the guinea pig. Just another thing people don't realize, when you first wick your fleece, wick it meaning use a cup of vinegar when you wash it, you need to test to see if the urine goes through with warm water. A lot of people test it with cold water and they say, oh, it didn't wick, I washed it 12 times. Well, urine is warm, water is cold. You need to test the same basic temperature to see if the urine will go through. Now, cold water will still sit on top of a liner. These aren't meant to be waterproof. There is no such thing as a waterproof liner. I know some people are advertising waterproof. There's no such thing. Even when you buy a rain jacket, they don't tell you it's waterproof. It's water resistant. This is for urine. It's meant to keep the urine away from the piggies. And that is what a liner does. Okay, I think I covered everything. Have a wonderful day. Peace, love, and guinea pigs.